Good morning, and I am live. All right. It is Wednesday, so today is Monday for me, August the 5th, and it is 2:30 in the morning in Phoenix. And I am getting ready to go on my morning ride. And as I am getting ready to pull out of this yard, y'all, I have to say I have had a good and blessed weekend. Yes, I have. My computer is in the shop, getting worked on. I put it in the shop yesterday. I went to Geek Squad initially because I have a Dell gaming laptop, which cost me 1,500. And I don't know. I don't know if Geek Squad, tries to get over, but in order for you to even have them look at it, they want like $85 down, which isn't bad. But then they estimated that it would cost $300 to fix my screen. And I said, oh, that's bullshit. So, you want almost damn near with taxes, it's going to be like $400 just to fix my computer when I could have a cheaper version of my computer and just, get on with my life. But at any rate, I went and decided to get a second opinion from this place called You Break We Fix. And they were a little bit more reasonable. First of all, they don't charge you at all any type of deposit to, put your computer in the shop. And they don't charge you for looking at it. So they'll tell you what's wrong with it and everything. And if you decide not to get any repairs done, they won't charge. So, I kind of, want to go with these guys, see what they're talking about. So they're estimating anywhere between $150 to $200 to fix the screen, which is more reasonable to me. That seems more reasonable. So we'll see. We shall see, right? I always forget my charger in my car. I have to jump out real quick and grab that. Bear with me for a second, guys, while I disconnect my car key from my truck key. Get out here. But yeah, I'm so happy that I was able to find somebody that's gonna fix that computer at a reasonable price. So happy. But the reason I came on here today, I did have some things on my mind that I wanted to talk about that were pretty heavy. Um, as you all know, O'Shea has what you call a Negro Manosphere group, and the group is really popping. By the way, they're in there, talking about all types of stuff. You got these guys in there with the manosphere mentality, the red pill, MG towel, or whatever you want to call it, save yourself, black man mentality. Let me crawl back up here in this truck. Climb, not crawl. Whew. Got my charger out my car. Every day I have to get my little stuff situated. So I do apologize. I tried to come on before I did the whole disinfecting because I know my thought process is kind of deflected from what I'm talking about when I'm doing other things. So I do apologize. But now that I'm all situated, let me go ahead and get into the meat of the matter. Because like I said, I was having a back and forth with a gentleman in that group. And we got to talking about black women who are single. And for some reason or another, black women who are single, we are demonized simply for being single. And I just want to touch upon that and shout out to Crystal and Karazin because she touched upon it a little bit on her channel. She was talking about how a certain YouTuber by the name with the initials KS, certain YouTuber with the initials K and S, was saying, about taking women to task because they're not married or settled down with a high value man by the time they're between the ages of 22 and 25. And he actually tells women that when they hit 27, they're in the danger zone. And so Crystal and Harrison was saying that that is a very dangerous rhetoric, given the fact that those numbers that he's going by, those were numbers that they used back in the 1980s for men and women. But nowadays, in today's society, in 2020, women don't actually marry or begin to marry until they're 27. And men are usually not married until they're 29. So shout out to Crystal and Harrison for, bringing in the research and crunching the actual numbers on that. And see, for me, 22 is quite young for marriage. You have not even, as a woman or as a single person, began to find yourself or live any of your own single life. And so I always encourage young women to first get to know yourself before you go choosing a mate. And at 22, I didn't know myself. I was still young. I still had a lot of party in me. So, settling down was the last thing I wanted to do. And I look at these little 22-year-old ladies now, and it's the same thing. They're not marriage minded. Okay, these are not marriage minded young people at 22. 22 is quite young. Hey, at Bitsme, what's going on? But back to the disagreement, because once again, this topic is about their excuse not to protect, okay? And why I'm bringing up single black women, because black women are demonized all the time simply for being single. Now, this is something that you're born. We're not born with mates, okay? Finding a mate takes a while, all right? And also, given the fact that nearly half of black men don't get married, okay? So you got a twofold thing here. You're demonizing black women for not being married, but black men are not really marrying anybody. And you can look all of this up on Black demographics. And I saw how Kevin Samuels is throwing up all the statistics that favored his argument, but he did not show you the other side of the coin, because there are cause and effects and correlations that go along with those numbers that he, along with many other black men that like to throw out numbers, do not show you. Okay, they just won't. They will only throw out the numbers that make black women in their eyes look unfavorable. They love to do this. Like Screen Learning said, there's profit in the problem. So they're going to keep profiting by doing these things. And unfortunately, there's always going to be black women seeking validation from black men who are going to call up to his show. I've just made peace with it, because week after week, I go and I look and I see black women calling into his show, and I'm wondering and asking myself, why would they put themselves through it? Why are they seeking validation from the likes of him. And I've just come to the conclusion that it's always going to be. Okay, it's always going to be black women seeking validation from these guys, and they mean them no good. But getting back to the debate I was having on the face in the face group in the face Facebook group Negro Manosphere with the gentleman. I'm not going to say his name, but he was arguing with me that black women are, hoes. Of course, this is the virtue argument as to why they don't protect black women. Black women need to choose better. We need to get booed up and married for protection. In order to get protection, we need to get booed up and married. Let's see, what was the other argument? Oh, we're hoes and harlots or whatever they call us. We're not good people, so we don't deserve any protection. So it's a lot of excuses that they have for not policing the community and protecting the community. And see, this is what I told him. The reason why other communities have less crime is because the men of the community have a code where they're not going to allow anarchy to reign supreme. So if they see something that ain't kosher, they're going to step in and they're going to bring order into their community. So then black men use the excuse that white women are more married. See, they're fixated on this whole married thing. Okay. But once again, we're not born married. Okay. You're going to have daughters and they're going to be walking around here single. And what have they done to deserve that? The mere fact that they're single and they're not attached to nobody. See, other groups, they have the code where they keep order in their community because they know that women and children are off limits. And they even protect elderly. They protect the disabled and some men too. So other groups understand what police in the community is what it means. Anybody causing a disturbance, well, they are a threat to the community. They don't sit up and they don't do a survey and ask everybody, are you worthy of protection? If they see a threat, they neutralize the threat, and the community continues to be a safe place for people to live in. The men establish that. So black men using the excuse that they only protect their wives and their daughters. Black men using the excuse that they don't want to, protect women that they don't know. Well, it's not even just about protecting women. What about children? What about the elderly? You know that in our community, we hate old people. We don't have no respect for the elderly at all. As a matter of fact, we don't think we're going to get old. You got people 35 running around here thinking they still young, not knowing that 35 is actually middle aged. A lot of folks with the Peter Pan syndrome running around here. But I have always maintained that a lot of our men, I'm not going to put all of them in the same category, but too many to count. They are not concerned, nor do they want to be heroes in their community because they are cowards. I'm just going to throw that out there. It don't have nothing to do with a woman's virtue. It don't have nothing to do with them not knowing the person. It has everything to do with them being cowardly. And as me and this fella was going back and forth, and I was asking him this one question, and I'm going to pose this question right now to my audience. And if you guys are listening to the replay, you can respond in the comments what you think the answer to this question is, but I'm going to go into it in more depth. But why is it that single white women are protected and single black women are not? This is a valid question because it is absolutely true. Now, when single white women are in trouble, there are plenty of heroic white men chomping at the bit to save her, and some of our black men too, by the way. Some black men too, by the way. Good morning, Q Savage. So, if anybody can answer the question, why are single white women afforded protection, but single black women are bastardized and not afforded protection? And as I was having this debate with homeboy, he's asking me irrelevant questions that that he learned from his internet daddy. You know, their internet daddies give them these talking points. They like to ask you, when you ask them a direct question, they deflect by asking you, do you have a man? Now, what has me having a man got to do with my question about whether or not why white single women are protected and why black single women are not protected? I asked him this question 7 times, and 7 times he deflected and tried to launch a personal attack against me. 7 times. He says, do you have a man? I say yes. Then he goes into, well, my mom and dad have been married over 20 some odd years, and they have businesses and 2 homes and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I said, that's very nice. I'm 44. My parents have been married over 50 years. What has that got to do with the question I asked you, sir? Why are single white women protected and single black women are not protected? Can you answer this for me? Then he attempts to say, do you really have a man? Because see, his whole argument is based off of whether or not I have a man, which I've already answered the question. It's irrelevant to the question that I asked him. He's not answering the question that I asked him, but he's deflecting to whether or not I have a man. And I've seen black men do this online. They take cues for the internet daddies like Jason Black and, you know, those guys of that ilk. Those are their talking points when they want to deflect from why the fuck they not doing their job as me. So he goes, well, you can't prove this is, you know, finally he somewhat acknowledges the question. Somewhat. He goes and throws out another deflection though. He says, but you can't prove that white women are more protected. I said, yeah, you know what? There's probably a statistic out there on it, but let me just go with the easiest route. I said, go to your computer right now and Google these words. Heroic man saves woman. You ain't got to put what color the man is or what color the woman is. I said, I want you to count how many videos are there of black men saving a black woman or any woman for that matter. I said, you will see a handful, but not that many. But you will see scores, hundreds, if not thousands, of videos and news articles about white men performing heroic acts, and mostly for their white women. And these are women they don't know. Case in point, I went ahead and I showed him a video, a recent news clip that was taken back in 2018 of a white man getting off the bus, and there was a white woman in a convenience store being mauled by a man. He was attempting to rob her. Soon as he got off the bus, no hesitation, he didn't even know the woman. He ran and he started fighting the man off of the woman, saving her from being robbed and attacked. And there are numerous videos like this out there. So again, I have to ask the question, why do black men throw up all these stipulations for protecting their women and their community? Because it's not just women, but I think about children, I think about old people, I think about the disabled, because these are soft targets. And usually able-bodied men protect soft targets. They're supposed to, actually. But our men make excuses as to why they don't. But at the same time, you'll see some of these same men talking about policing the community. And I showed him this video, and the video is very vivid. The bus pulls up, he gets out, he sees the woman being attacked, and he immediately springs into action. That is what policing your community looks like sometimes. You want to talk about policing the community, but you don't really want to put in the heavy work. And so the only thing that I can think of is cowards. We got a lot of cowards in the community. And I really want to, talk about this and a few other things that I think it is. But I thought that this conversation that he and I had was worth pointing out, because this is an indicator of the conversations that black women are having with black men online about protecting the community. We're having these arguments with our men online about protecting the community. And yes, black women are part of the community that you do not really want to protect. You talk about policing the community. That is what it looks like sometimes. Sometimes it looks just like that. Let me take a look at who's in here. I can't really see all that well because I don't have my glasses on, first of all. So I do apologize if I'm getting the names messed up. But Perfectivelist says, if I answered that question honestly, you tried to argue me down. Don't worry about, whether or not I'm going to, try to argue you down. We can debate it. We can debate it. As a matter of fact, let me get ready to drop this link. Let me get ready to copy this link and drop it into the chat. Because if you want to answer the question? You want to come up and answer the question, or you want to answer the question in the chat? That's perfectly fine as well. But don't worry about what I'm going to say, because we can chop it up. We can have this discussion, because it's about time we address why some of y'all really don't want to protect the community. I'm tired of the deflections. There's a lot of deflections out here. I'm trying to copy the link in here. Paste button is not coming up. I got these dang on nails on me. Okay, let me see. Let me see. All right, I was able to do it just then. I had to stop being lazy. All right, so there is the link right there. So anybody interested in answering that question, you're welcome to come up and have your say. You know what how I do it here. I don't mute microphones. I do not talk over people. I let you have your say. All right, Q Savage is in here. All right, Q Savage, what's up, brother?
Hey, good morning. How are you, Faith?
Good morning. I'm doing great.
To answer your question, I honestly think most black men are not cowards and they don't want to protect their community. Most men feel like as long as they don't come through their house, it doesn't bother them.
Okay. Now, how do
And
you how do you think that affects the community if everybody's out for themselves?
honestly, I feel like for the fact that it affects the community as a whole for the simple fact is like me for example, I live in Philadelphia. I'm sitting on the step right now. And this community right here, it's a couple of drug boys on the block or whatever. But per example, they protect their area. They protect the people on the block. They protect the women and children on the block. So I feel like sometimes it all depends on the individual on location, and I depend and it depends on the person. Now me, I don't see no black women getting assaulted, beat up. Not around here. I don't see it. And 9 times out of 10, if a woman was getting assaulted or whatever, men will step in. I seen it. So I really don't see what's like I said, it all depends on individual it all depends on individual basis. I've seen it myself.
So you think that we don't have a problem with crime in our community and with women and children being targeted?
Absolutely we do. But the whole point of being like this is like in Philadelphia. We tried to address that about the a 7-year-old black boy got shot in West I think South Philly, just playing on the steps got shot in the head. Playing outside on the porch just the other day. Still can't find the killers. And they had a shootout with in North Philadelphia, 25th and Master. 2 people got hit, and I think one woman got hit. It was a gang war. So yeah, we got a problem, and the community leaders they tried to go to the prison to the prison leaders. The brothers that whole weight in prison. They said there's nothing they can do because everything is random.
So let me ask you something, okay? Because I grew up in a bad area too, where there's a
Hmm.
lot of crime. And see, a lot of folks sit up here and say they don't know what's going on. They ain't seen nothing. They don't know who's committing these crimes. But to be honest with you, every time something happened in the neighborhood, when the police showed up, nobody knew nothing. But word on the street, people were talking. So people do be knowing who it is. But we sit up here and protect these criminals.
I say I say for the fact I say it depends, it depends on the situation. Cause like I said, here in Philadelphia, we got a large Muslim community, and majority of them was black men. And I know for a fact, you do something to one of theirs, they shutting blocks down. They don't care what you're doing.
Okay, now
You heard one of
Philadelphia, the crime rate out there has actually doubled.
well, yeah, cause for the simple fact, everybody got coronavirus check money and everybody flipping it out. Know what I mean? So it's I mean it's pretty much a money war out here now over on stimulus checks. You got
So,
D
so,
boys get.
so, so, I'm just going to ask you: do you think that black men, if the crime rates are doubling, do you think that black men are doing a good job of policing the community?
I mean policing it from what? I mean just for the simple fact is like
But
for the
you
simple
just
fact.
got through telling, you just got through saying that a boy got shot in the head not too long ago. This is what the community needs to be policed from, and the drug activity, all of that.
9 times out of 10 we if you try to no we on police communities just for the simple fact is that if we do police that person, who say we won't go to jail for policing the community.
So,
That's
so
vigilante.
you've not heard of a citizen's arrest before.
Nobody it ain't nobody doing no citizen arrest. Nobody ain't doing no citizen. Look, I mean, if you do something to somebody if you do something out here on the street, 9 times out of 10, most people not going to snitch for the simple fact is that they want to catch you out in the street.
All right. Oh, and take care at Bixby. Get it in at the gym for me too.
I
All
mean,
right.
I mean, I mean, especially like especially out on the streets, they feel like no, they ain't gonna snitch on that person because you know why they want to catch them out on the street and do what they sell. They ain't gonna tell the police they better do what they sell.
Mm-hmm.
I know plenty of
But
people
do
like
you
that.
do you think do you think that other people's communities are more safer simply because of the police alone?
I mean, well, for simple fact, you be surprised like my child in my neighborhood, they neighborhood is more safe for simple fact because half of the block is filled with cops. Cops live on the block. Homicide detectives,
Mm.
all this, that, and the third. So ain't nothing jumping off.
Okay, we got cops that live in our areas too, but yeah, we got high crime.
Honestly, just for the simple fact, it's like even the black cops, they figure like this: if it ain't in their district, they don't
Right,
care.
right. These are black male cops, right?
And female cops, it don't matter.
Yeah, and I'm going to get to that now, but we're talking about black men protecting the community and the
I mean,
excuses that they come up with not to do it. And see, these excuses that you're giving me right now, this is what we've been hearing. Oh, we can't do it because we might go to jail. It's more and more. Y'all keep moving the goalposts of excuses why you're not doing your job, but you want black women to follow you. It sounds like we're not going to be protected with this line of reason. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah, but I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm still trying to figure which is picture this. We see all these black men just standing up protecting their community, this that and the third, just standing up one off this that and the third, like the Detroit 300. What would be the end game?
The end game would be safer communities for you to raise your families in. See, other communities, the men are on code. They have a code of conduct. They do not tolerate any type of anarchy in their immediate community. But in the black community, the men only have a code of conduct of snitches get stitches. We protect the criminals. That's our code of conduct. And it was a code of conduct created by black men who were criminals. And so even the black men who are not criminals uphold that code. But then you'll see a lot of black men go on to their social media or their little platforms or what have you and talk about community policing. Well, sometimes community policing looks like you saving people from being attacked. And if there were enough black men on code with this, the same way that you all got on code with snitches get stitches, the community could be safer because the criminals would be afraid of you and not the other way around.
I'm still trying to I'm still trying to just I'm still trying to just picture this wonderful picture. I really am. I'm really am because I say the majority of the because where I'm from, the majority of the men either are homosexuals or they live by themselves, and and the majority and some of the boys, some of the dudes is on drug dealers, this that, and the third,
Hmm.
and that's pretty much that. Like I said, everybody keeps to themselves.
Good morning, Third Ward. Yeah, you're right. I give that to you, and then that's more to my point of the reason why our communities are not safe. Black men are in the communities, they're hustling, they're selling their drugs, they're, doing their illegal activity. So they really don't want a lot of community policing to interfere with their illegal activities and their source of money. It's kind of like the brother Stream Learning said, there's profit in the problem. So you have black people in the community profiting off of our pain and our suffering in the community. You got all these drug dealers out here profiting off of people who are addicted. They're profiting off of the problem of addiction in the community. So they don't want no community policing. They don't want the community to get better and get healed because they profit off of an unhealed community. You
I
got you you got pimps out here that don't want black women to have standards because they profit off the low self-esteem of young black girls that they turn out to do these tricks for them. So
well,
if you have a community, mostly like you said that most of these guys are single, most of these guys are in the community selling drugs, pimping, or what have you. If you got a community comprised of guys with this mindset and they feed off the people that depend on the illegal medicines that they're selling, they're not trying to see a safe community at all whatsoever.
but at the same time, the people in the community sit there and say, as long as it don't come through their door, it really don't matter. It only matters when it affects them directly.
But
Like I said,
do you think that Boone Quisha and Pookie and Ray Ray that buy weed from the weed man up the street every day, do you think they really, really want to see the weed man go to jail and be taken out of the community?
of course not. It's just for the simple fact is that they got to go somewhere else to find their weed, not the
Right,
local weed man. I mean, it's for distance and convenience.
right.
So I
We got
mean,
hmm
because like I said, like the block I live on, like I said, they said you got the little drug dealers selling their weed or whatever, but at the same time, you got single families, newborns, this, that, and the third. Everybody get along. The drug dealers don't bother them. They really don't care. They don't care what they do,
hmm
and that's the honest truth. They don't care. And
There,
I'm a little black from
there was a recent video footage. I don't know if you heard of this young little girl. I forget her name. I'm not going to say the little girl's name, but the little girl was raped and killed by a drug dealer. Apparently, the mother had a $200 drug debt, and so in order to settle the debt, she gave this monster her 5-year-old daughter.
right there. That we talking with two devilish individuals right there. With the mind for doing that, and the drug dealer for even accepting the offer like that, for even proposing the offer like that. We talking to two wrong individuals, two devilish evil individuals. Don't matter what color it is. That's just an evil act.
But why is it that we're not, as a community, concerned with cleaning these individuals up out of our community?
Because for the simple fact that, like I said, at the end of the day, as long as it don't come through their door, most people do not care. I know, because most people just want to just go to work, go home, go come to their door, turn their TV, and worry about make it to the next day. That's all it is.
That is until a bullet comes flying through their window.
Exactly. So
My whole thing is, what are black men doing to help clean up the community?
I mean, pretty much worry about their individual selves and try to and trying to better themselves. I mean, that's the far I see. Most of the young guys on their money game. They trying to stack this money. They trying to stack this money and trying to better themselves, coming from the street dudes or whatever.
Okay, well, Q Savage, I'm gonna tell you what the answer is. The answer is they're not doing anything. They're not. Like you and I, you said it and I said it. These black men are okay with the status quo. If the community gets cleaned up, there goes their money. There goes their way of life. There goes their weed in the afternoon when they get home from work. Like you said, most people don't care as long as it don't come through their front door, and as long as they still have access to the weed man down the street, they don't give a damn about the
Then
little 5-year-old girl that got raped in the community by the drug dealer.
I mean, and honestly, for the simple fact, then if it just so happens that they happen to clean up as time go on, you will either as a drug dealer, you will either adapt, or you will or you will or you will perish. That's all. That's all that's gonna happen. So you can, I mean, the neighborhood go get cleaned up. It's gonna get cleaned up in due time. I mean, but at the same time, you either going to adapt or perish. Some gonna get the reality and get them jobs. I mean, trust me, on the drug dealer around here, he ain't gonna be doing it in 5 to 10 years. He either gonna be working a 9 to 5, or he gonna be in jail. And it's just gonna be a whole new crop, and then it starts over again.
My
But
hope
as I
is
said,
that they legalize all these drugs and put all these drug dealers out of work because they need to be put out of work. They need to be shut down. And I think the reason why they not put out of work is because right now, largely, a lot of drugs remain illegal. I think that if they legalized all the drugs, number one, they'll be able to regulate them. They'll be able to sell them in safer doses, and people will be able to take them a lot safer than they are taking them on the street.
yeah, I mean, that's the case. They might as well legalize prostitution, make it legal in all
Yeah,
50 states.
yeah, they need to do that too. Yes, it would be regulated and much safer, and it will eliminate the pimps.
I mean, like for perfect example, they legalized marijuana in Pennsylvania, but did it put the drug dealers out of business? No, because you know why? Because the medical marijuana, they still get medical marijuana too. They getting better weed just as much as the as the dispensary. So
Mm.
it don't even matter. You got to
But
realize the underground economy I mean, it's part of the GDP of the United States of America. Without it, no money.
yeah, you got a point there. I agree with you on that. But let me ask you something here.
Hmm.
What has a woman's virtue got to do with the fact that she's in help or in immediate danger?
Um, I'll give it to you. I'll give you a perfect example. I seen this. This example how a woman's quote unquote honor got her killed. She got into an argument. We was at a bar in Philly. She got into an argument with a I guess with a neighborhood drug dealer boy or whatever. No, I mean, so in the Chinese store, so the guy came at her, started talking to her. No, I mean, the girl brushed her off. Girl brushed him off, said, "No, I'm good." You know how most guys make the little insults, "You ugly," this, that, and the third. I mean, so they got into an argument. So her boyfriend came in from the bar, came across the street. No, I mean, he seen the guy was on intoxicated at high. He just backed out the store. No, I mean, so after that, she making a big old scene. No, I mean, so he took her to the next block. He picked her up, took her to the next block. Then he came back and confronted the boy that confronted her. They got into an argument, broke it up, whatever. No, I mean, so the guy tried to get his girl in the car so they can leave. No, you ain't protect my honor, this, that, and the third. Which exactly he did because he took you away from harm and went back and confront the man. But you came back around the block trying to make more confrontation. What ended up was that I don't know how it happened. She got killed and the boy got shot in the spine.
Okay, well, that was somebody that he knew. If he
It
knew
wasn't
she was
nobody that
all
it wasn't nobody that he knew for some fact it was a total random event. I mean, just by him, but just by her boyfriend trying to do the right thing, he got shot in the spine and got her killed. Instead of her just listening
okay,
and
I thought you said that she went around the block and got him.
no,
So
she
she
said
had to know him to go around.
no, she went
She
around. She went. Her boyfriend carried her around the block. She was all emotional with her. He carried her around the block and said, "Stay around here." He went back to the other block to confront the
right,
boy.
so
So
she knew him. He knew her.
no, he didn't know her. That's the
Oh,
thing.
well, how is he her boyfriend if he didn't know her?
No, I'm saying that, but the boyfriend. I'm saying, but the boyfriend did what he's supposed to do was get his girlfriend away from
Right,
harm's
that's her
way.
boyfriend. That's her boyfriend. They know each other.
Yeah, exactly. So for the simple fact is that by her not letting him do his job, it got her killed and got him shot in the spine.
Okay, but here's the thing. He knows what type of woman he got. I'm talking about random single women you don't know. If you see someone in danger, why would you not help them?
I mean, I don't as for starters, where do you see all these random attacks? I don't see that. I don't see it.
Well,
Like
I see it all the time. I grew up in Inglewood,
where?
high crime areas. If you grew up in a high crime area and you talking about you ain't never seen no random attacks, I'm gonna have to call bullshit.
No, I'm saying random attacks. If somebody just randomly get assaulted, just randomly just get
Yes,
assaulted out of the blue every single day.
yes, I've seen it on the subway in Chicago. I've seen it in my neighborhood standing at the bus stop. I've seen random attacks all the time on the way home from school. What are you talking about?
I mean, now I don't see it. I don't see it. I mean, honestly, I do not see it. And I live in a high crime area. I don't see all these women
Just
going.
the other day, I was coming out of Ross and I saw a woman get into a altercation with a man over a fender bender.
A fender bender. Okay. At the same time, I'm living. I don't. I know when the last time I seen a woman just on come out of here nowhere, just get popped in the head, is that and the third. I didn't see that. But at the same time, but I'll tell you what I
Wow.
did. No, no,
Where
no,
do
but
you
no,
live?
no,
Because
no,
I want to move over there. I want to move over
no,
there.
no. But
Where do you live?
I did tell you what I did do last week when I was sitting there working. I did see a young black couple arguing this, that, and the third. I tried to do a noble thing, try to break it up. On there, I know I was almost attacked by a pregnant woman and pretty much the person that owned, and pretty much the person that did the own, put a young black man put his hands on this woman. I said, yo, chill, man, for the simple fact she could hit her head and this, that, and the third. Yo, get off me, old head, you want to rumble? No, I mean, this ain't got nothing to do with you. All right, fine. Another black boy, this ain't got nothing to do with you, dog. A pregnant woman, this ain't got nothing to do with you, dog. Get out of here. Okay, no problem. Real talk. Sometimes it don't pay for being noble. I tried to do a noble thing. Look what happened. I almost got jumped by two dudes and a pregnant woman.
Yeah, I
So
agree. There's a danger zone for men also when you do try to come to a person's aid. You are absolutely right. But a lot of times people won't even do the simple pick up the phone and call the police. I have seen black men standing around recording, but nobody's jumping in, helping, nobody's calling the police, but they got the record button up. So,
one,
all of these excuses, these excuses are starting to get tiring. There's no more excuse anymore, and it is cowardice, Q Savage. It is. At the end of the day, even though you have a valid point, you could risk your life. That's what heroes do. That's why they call them heroes.
I mean, and heroes get value. I mean, it's something in the deal. You're supposed to get honor. I mean, honestly, for the fact, I mean, just for the simple fact is that I understand what you're saying, Faith. But at the same time, it's like, what would be the reward? I mean, you keep on saying be safe in communities, that this, that, and the third. I mean,
The
most black
reward
men feel
is
like
a safer community. That is the reward. The reward is a safer community. It sends the message out to the criminals in the community that the community is not going to accept it. And see, and as much as we sit here and we don't want to acknowledge that that's what we're going to have to do in order to make our community safer, get more involved, that's exactly what we're going to have to do. If the criminals know that you are not going to tolerate, just like over where I live, I have cameras all around my house. Everything. I'm recording everything. If I see something suspicious, I'm calling the police. The people in my community, they know not to mess with me. They know already. That lady is crazy. She will call the police on you. She will get you locked up. They already know that about me. And there needs to be more people like this in the community. That is a mighty powerful thing. But we got a lot of cowards in the community. I'm just going to call it what it is. People are cowardly and afraid. And that cowardliness is what gets you the community that you currently live in, where you got bullets coming through your window, children getting shot, women getting assaulted. Because we sit up here and we think about ourselves.
so. As I say, I mean, honestly, for the fact I live on a block where plenty of brothers got families, this, that, and the third. As I said before, as long as they don't come to their door, majority don't even care. If the drug dealers don't bother them, they don't care. Hey, you don't bother me, I don't bother you. You don't bother my family, I won't bother you. And that's the way it is.
Now, I put the cameras up around my house. If I see any drug activity going on around my house, I am calling the police. And I have called the police. And I'm still here. And and I thought about it. Yeah, they could, retaliate. They could probably shoot up my apartment or whatever. But the fact of the business is, I'm to the point where I am so fed up, Q Savage.
And at the
I'm
same
so
time,
fed up.
you know why they probably don't shoot you up your place on faith, for the simple fact that you ain't messing up their money supply.
Yeah, they probably gonna just take their shit somewhere else. But guess what? They not around my area doing that stuff. Now it's up to the next person to run them out their area. That's what I'm saying. If there's nowhere for them to go to do their dirt, they will get the picture.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Faith. It's just too much individualism. As I said before, as long as it don't come to their door, it really don't matter.
And that's the reason why our communities are going to stay saturated with these criminals, because that's how we protect them. Number one, we protect them because we only care about ourselves. And number two, some of us depend on these degenerates for our little recreational drug activities.
Don't get it wrong. It's financial assistance for the simple fact is that because when drug dealers come around, girls come around. So at the same time, there's somebody benefit off the money. No matter what, somebody benefit off the money. Either somebody, either one person might it's because there's always one person on the block that's always financially strapped. They they find a way to get down.
Okay, here's a comment from Miss J here. She says, at Faith, people can contact the community anonymously. Having cameras around your home, you can even email the evidence. It's just cowardly to have this no snitch code nowadays. Exactly. Exactly. But Q Savage, you did answer my question. I would give that to you. I hope I wasn't too hard on you, because I try not to be. I want everybody to be able to, voice their opinion.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good for the simple fact is because as a simple fact is like because I know for a fact at the same time you gotta blame law enforcement too because according to the police source if you don't call them directly they're not gonna make no arrest. They somehow so they not doing some type of certain arrest because most because they say it's a lawsuit, it's a potential lawsuit. So half of the time they ain't even arresting people now.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
All right.
So it's a I can't tell you the last time I seen somebody get arrested around here.
All right. And now we have Miss J has come on to the stream. Welcome, Miss J.
Hey Faith, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. What's going on, Miss Lady?
No, I'm just saying it's just a collective failure, pretty much. I mean, there's so many things that we can do that we just refuse to do. Policing is a good paying job. You don't have to have these high qualifications because we all know of plenty of police officers who are dumb as hell. They can go ahead and apply for the jobs and become police officers and can police their own community. They just don't want to do it. Like you said, you can have cameras around where you can literally record the crimes in progress and email the police departments. You don't have to go out there and tell the whole neighborhood I'm the one that went ahead and called the police. You can do all sorts of things. People just refuse to go ahead and do it. They want to live, they don't want to help themselves and they want to go out and play the victims. People need to tell black people in those neighborhoods that Black Lives Matter because it don't matter to them. Until you have people reaching up and policing and cleaning up their own neighborhoods, it's going to look exactly the way it looks. And a
And
lot of us who aren't living in that neighborhood, I mean, honestly, to be honest with you, you're just going to have to kind of wash your hands of it. You have to help. People have to learn how to help themselves. You can offer it to them. You can give them good advice until they go ahead and take it and stop being comfortable living in that kind of environment and just complaining and not doing anything. Nothing is going to change. That's why you need to leave by hook or by crook and make sure that kind of element does not move into your neighborhood, regardless of what anybody else wants to talk about. You can't have that because they will tear down everything and won't rebuild anything. And that's just the sad fact of the matter. Is it not a coincidence that certain neighborhoods and certain cities look the way they look?
Exactly.
The whole of Chicago does not have that shooting problem. It's specific
Oh,
neighborhoods.
No, you go out to Skokie, and those suburban white areas. Oh no, they don't have that over there. Those white people, they police their community. They see
Yeah,
you walking through their community, they come out, they say hi. That right there is code for I'm watching you.
yeah. I mean, but you have people
Um,
coming from outside neighborhoods who, in like places of Detroit and stuff like that, even not just Detroit, just different areas where they come and they literally dump their trash in the neighborhood, like the tires and stuff like that, and just drive off. Nobody cares. No one picks up trash. No one picks up litter. They burn
Hmm.
down homes, empty homes, and no one does anything about it. I mean, people just don't want to admit to collective failure, and it's like you can't sit there and always blame the police and the white people. Sometimes you need to hold your hand up and say, okay, where are the leaders? Where are the people who do stuff? Not just talking, not just keeping silent, but actually doing. And
Exactly.
they're not there.
And it's mighty funny that you mentioned dumping because they had a law not too long ago in New York about dumping because
Yeah,
they actually had, like you said, people going into these lot of these businesses, going into the poor black neighborhoods, dumping their trash in the middle of the
yeah, because
street.
they know nobody cares. No one's gonna stand up and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" And it's just, people are just they're violent for no damn reason. Shooting people up, driving by and killing babies, not giving a damn. And we just turn around and just turn a blind eye to it. Like I said, there's a lot of people who be committing some serious crimes who should be in jail. You have
But
young
it's,
people
it's
who,
like it's like Q Savage said, if it don't affect them, they don't care.
but it does affect them. I don't understand how they don't see that.
if it don't come
They're
through
living
their
in a war
door,
zone. Everybody who lives in a war zone is being affected. Just because you're not a soldier doesn't mean you're not. It doesn't affect you. You live in a war zone that affects you. You have your children out there having higher PTSD rates than soldiers who went to Afghanistan, and they're not even teenage. They're not even they haven't even left teenage years yet. You're literally affecting how their brain works, and then you're just sitting there not doing anything and complaining or not saying anything. You can do a lot of stuff. I'm not saying the police are right. I'm not saying the police are great, but damn, do something. There's absolutely no excuse to have what we have in certain neighborhoods at all. And Chicago's not even the worst one of them.
Right about that.
Birmingham is horrible. St. Louis is horrible. I mean, there's a lot of places in here who are horrible. And we just don't want to look and confront the actual, and I'm not trying to be mean, but it's what they actually are, demons in human form out there causing a huge bunch of damage. The amount of people out there who have multiple bodies on them and they haven't even been so much as touched or talked to by law enforcement is shocking. Literal serial killers, literally serial killers out there. And they haven't even reached 30 and we just acting like we don't even see it. It's
Hmm.
crazy. And they tell you about it in their music. When you listen to that demon music, drill music, they tell you about the fact that they're out there 21 years old and have killed 5 people and how much they don't give a damn. It's crazy.
Now I'm curious, Q Savage. Did you have any type of pushback, or did you want to comment on the things that Miss J was saying?
well, what I was about to say on the law enforcement thing is like, speaking to my son's mom, that's a police officer. She was saying like, it's like a quota that no matter what, they got a certain quota how many officers they can hire, black, this, that, and the third, and the quota's pretty low. They never cross it or whatever. And normally it's a whole lot of brothers and sisters that do go in the police department, but unfortunately, what they do is that since they known to be so racist, they normally put the some of the best top rookies. They put them in some of the most racist police districts where they get suspended for 10 days for stuff like that for minor. I mean, just for anything, and they wind up leaving after like a year, 2 years. You got brothers that's coming in 20, 21, passing the detective test, 90, all high scores. Can't get a detective spot because it ain't what you know, is who you know. And then whoever black detective you ever see, 9 times out of 10, he probably kissed enough ass to get where he at now. So on that note is I mean, it, the police department got to have better hiring quotas, and they got to start letting these brothers and sisters that's really good detectives. I mean, really good police officers become detectives.
Okay, well that's that's
And,
that's something. But let me ask you something. I mean, do you really have to be a police officer to police your community? And I'm going to go ahead and let Stream Learning in on the conversation, and I want to welcome him to the panel. Welcome, Stream Learning. How are you today?
Hey, what's going on? Early morning drive or just early morning. Yeah, yeah. Uh taking a page from Tommy Sotomayor tonight because he basically said it better than I can, and that is we have to be willing to die for ours the same way the drug dealer, the thugs, and the gangsters die for theirs. We're at war, and being at war, you're either on one of two sides. Either you support or are passive when it comes to the criminal element, or you're wanting to eliminate it, contain it, or prevent it. And one of those things to do that is if you see something, you say something. If you remember the movies that we had back in like the 70s, where you had Shaft, you had Foxy Brown, they would go to people who were selling drugs and the pimps, and they would check them. Now, police were had their problem because usually the crooked cops would patrol the minority areas, but people pretty much picked up their own firearms, did their own policing. What got us was the crack era and the government dropping fully automatic firearms and drugs in the alley, and then people picking up those weapons and using it against us. And now we're here. As a former soldier, I saw the effects of what happens when people in the community, specifically the men, make up excuses as to why they don't want to attack threats. And what's ruining our communities is we don't see people as threats. We see them as, well, if they're not bothering me, then oh well. But letting small things go, small things turn into medium things, then into large things, and then it becomes Chicago and East St. Louis, where you have a bunch of people running around, and like the rap music that Tommy Sotomayor was playing tonight, you have it to where people are bragging about who their targets are and who they've taken out, and it's a lost cause. Right now, it's on particular blocks, but it's only a matter of time before it spills over, like the crime that just took place with that Chicago rapper. But the people in that community where the rapper was shot in the head or shot by two vehicles worth of people, they had no problem working with the cops and making sure that stuff doesn't spill out. And that's just it. It's being concerned that the place where you live, where your children live, or wherever you're out and about and you see something happen, you got to take an interest in wanting to step in and neutralize that threat, because if not, that becomes the standard.
Exactly. And now I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Q Savage. And that is, why is it that single white women are protected and single black women are not protected? And why are there so many excuses not to protect single black women? What is a woman's having a man got to do with her protection?
I think it just goes to culture. And if you notice, so like I always separate black male culture from black female culture. And with black male culture, we uplift crime in the music, in joining gangs. That stuff is just promoted. And then also you got to take into consideration that a lot of men are afraid. You know, look at the video that just came out with George Floyd dealing with the police officers, and he was pleading for his life. He was afraid. It's a shame what happened to him, but as you could see, he was terrified. And I honestly believe that Um, it's just people are they're okay with um, attacking a black man, but they're afraid to really stand up to like another set of people. And then if it's like a black man attacking a black woman, I think black men are like, just not all, but enough, or more feel like along the lines of, I don't want him to come to my house, so I'm not going to do anything. And
Mm,
usually those men who are like that, they've never served in the military, they've never served the police force. They don't really have instilled in them like duty, honor, protecting your home, protecting people. They don't really have that instilled inside of them while growing up. Whether they're in a single home or not, it's just they just don't really see it. But if you grow up and you see men in your neighborhood doing stuff like that, then you're inclined to pick up the baton and be a leader. Because most men will say, "Well, I'm not gonna take up for a random woman if she's not my woman." Well, do you want her to be your woman? If the answer is yes, then if you save her life, that's like a conversation right there. That's a conversation starter. If the answer is, well, I don't really want to be her man, well, she might be getting attacked now, and next time it could be your child or it could be your
right.
friend. So it's just like not to get into comic books, but like with Spider-Man. Spider-Man, he let the bad guy go, not my monkey, not my circus, and then that same bad guy ended up taking the life of his uncle. That's kind of how we have to look at it, where you stop them now, so something worse doesn't happen later on.
Okay. And Miss J, I'm gonna ask you the same question. The question was, why is it that single white women are protected, but single black women are not protected? What do you think a woman's relationship status has to do with her protection?
Well, I mean, personally, I mean, the situation speaks for itself. But as a single woman, my whole thing is you live in a country where you have freedom of movement. So why are you still living in a community where if you, especially if you're single, where that's even a possibility? That's the reason why I make sure I don't live around certain people. And I'm not trying to look down on folks. I'm just speaking in reality. I'm not willing to pay that ultimate price just so I can be around people who look like me, because I have to look at my own safety. And I always make sure I'm not living in those type of neighborhoods, because as a woman, you don't have the control to make someone do the right thing. You don't have the ability to make someone stand up and be a leader. So since you don't have the ability to control that, you can't control where you live. And I'm not talking about living somewhere where you have to pay $3,000 a month to live like in a gated community, anything like that. There's 3,000 counties in America. There are over 20,000 cities. You literally don't have to live in a horrible neighborhood in Chicago or in Birmingham or in East St. Louis or wherever they are. The high crime areas, move. I mean, right now, Southwest Airlines has $49 tickets. There's something called the Greyhound bus system. You don't have to have a lot of money to move. You have to have that type of mentality to realize I am literally in danger. I'm literally living in a war zone. There are better places that I can move where I don't have to have a passport. I don't have to have thousands of dollars saved up. I don't have to have some kind of elaborate moving plan. So literally do the job and move. You can't change the environment that you live in, because as a single woman, you don't control neighborhoods. You don't
Hmm.
have the ability to stop, people who are just bent on living a criminal lifestyle. Move, and then make sure you don't move that criminal lifestyle with you. Because too
Right.
many black women, they do move to better neighborhoods, and then they turn around and bring in their drug dealer boyfriend literally right in their home.
Or their sons.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to be able to really move, but also change your mindset, to change the culture, not accepting, stupidity, and we do that. Like we'll
Yeah,
go ahead and
because
apply for.
I moved 2,000 over 2,000, damn near 3,000 miles away from home, and I
Yeah,
came out here to Phoenix. And as soon as I got out here, then I'm going to talk about this too, because sometimes you move, and then you look around. I look around, and all these Chicago people are out here, and
exactly. And they come and bring the Chicago mindset right with them. And then they
exactly.
wonder why people look down on them. No, I'm sorry. No, the world does not have to accept your foolishness. I understand you're living in a bad situation, but guess what? The rest of the world doesn't want to live in your bad situation. Nobody's going to have the type of sympathy for you. They're really not. Even the Lord helps those who help themselves, and you need to help yourself. So when you see stupidity, speak on it. You have your own
Absolutely.
cell phone where you can pick up that phone and call. They have anonymous phone numbers. I mean, numbers you can call. You can report people anonymously. Anonymously. The same way you use that camera to record what happened to George Floyd, you can also use that camera to record the foolishness that's happening by people who are not George, the police officers, and report that. This at some point in time, you have to basically say enough is enough and stop using excuses. Black lives need to matter to black people. And I know I sound like a hateful Republican, and I'm not trying to. Lord knows I'm not trying to, because I'm not a Republican. But at some point in time, you need to look at the reality of the situation and be honest and say, you know what, enough's enough. It's going to be up to us. Because I can promise you, if I see foolishness in my neighborhood, I am calling the police. I make sure I don't live in foolish neighborhoods, but I also make sure if that foolishness comes to mind, I'm not having that no snitch code at
Yeah,
all.
same,
I'm
same
snitching.
here.
I'm
Same
snitching.
here.
And that's what we need to go ahead and say. You know what? They have jails for a reason. Because some people need to be in jail. Do we have over policing? Yes, we do. That is a problem. Do we have a corrupt justice system? Yes, we do. That is a problem. That needs to be worked on. That's no excuse to sit back and say, oh, I'm not going to do nothing because you know how the police are. I also know how criminals are. And I'm
All
not
right.
willing to pay that price. And until we basically say, you know what? Pookie and Ray Ray need to be back behind them bars. We're not gonna go anywhere as a people, and our reputation is not gonna get anywhere until we handle that problem. It shouldn't be up to the other community to basically say what we're gonna put up with. We have to get out of that mindset, and that's at some point in time you have to come to that reality. It is us. It's how we're raising our children. It's how the after school programs. There's nothing available for them. There's so many things that we can do on a little personal level to basically help ourselves that we're not doing. And it's not
Facts.
just the men. It's not just the men. Women support
Facts.
that foolishness too.
Now, I want to also welcome BMT to the panel. Brother, how are you today? Have you listened to what we were saying so far?
Yeah, I did. I also I went off. I did a show in response. And then after that, I called up a few people. So today I'm going to bring on some white people on my show, and we're going to talk about are they getting protection? So they actually are willing to come on, so that way they can actually speak, and we're going to talk about this protection thing going on around. So the women were like, we don't get protected. What are y'all talking about? So we're definitely gonna have a conversation about it. I wanted to do that. I wanted to make sure I could clear the air about the so-called everybody think that there's protection. So I'm gonna take care of that for y'all. Um, but as far
Oh,
as it goes,
so you're saying that the white women really don't get the protection that we think they're getting?
yeah, yeah, I literally have. You can go ahead and look at the rehash of my show. They were right there in the show saying like, "What are y'all talking about?" Like, I mean, don't worry. I promise you. When I bring them on, I'm gonna bring on. But I have everybody come through my show, so it ain't nothing for me to make a phone call. I'm gonna just bring them on, and they're gonna just talk about it out there on mouth. So that way, I'm gonna dispel all the myths that everybody thinking that somebody doing something better on their side than them. So it's really case by case because honestly, and some of the mothers were even telling me during the show that they tell their sons don't protect some random broad on the street. That was some of the women while I was doing the show. They were like, I tell my son don't do that because they know how some women are.
So if when you got it where that's the mentality that some people tell their son, hey, you don't know that girl, don't you throw yourself out like that, don't you do that. What do? You can't get mad at that because ultimately there have been some good stories and there's a lot more bad stories of men, and I have worn that cape where don't worry about it, I'll help you out, I'll get you out to get you up. Next thing you know, that girl's right there, right back on that man's arm. And I'm like, oh snap! I just
All
wasted
right.
my time. So you learn to operate case by case. Is there protection like that? It's both ways. Only people I don't hold accountable for protection is literally children. Children, there's only but so much they can do. But men and women, that protection it's now more so of whatever's in my best interest. And if it's not, and if it ain't nothing in the best interest, then nobody's getting looked after. Because I mean, I came up in the time, if I would have showed up by a woman's house and asked for hey, and this is during Sunday, so I don't want y'all to think that some crazy stuff. But during Sundays or something like that, I used to I didn't have to just go home or go to my mom's house or go to my gal's house. I could go by any woman in the church house, and I promise you I was going to get a plate. And you think that's going on this day? Nope, nope. If she gave me a plate of food, I'm pretty sure she's gonna put me to work some way or the other. But that's not. You gotta understand. We're not looking out for each other's best interests like that. It's a self-indulgence type of society now, where literally, what can you do for me? What can I do for you? Now, are there some good men and women out there? Yes, there are. But we also are also looking at it where it's like case by case basis. If I see you know what I'm saying, something's going on in the parking lot, or you like struggling to push that buggy and you dealing with a child that's trying to run out there in the street, you know what I'm saying? Okay, hey, you want me to push your buggy? You know what I'm saying? Then the woman gonna be on the edge. She's gonna be like, I don't know this dude. No, I got it. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. You're a woman. So you more worried about what that man gonna do. But then in the same sense, that's me right there extending my protection of trying to help you. But then also in the same sense that if there's a situation going on and you see you could dispel it with your femininity, not egg it on or pull out a cell phone. You could dispel it and say, hey guys, y'all don't need to do that. And I've seen that happen, but we're not doing that. So, you know what I'm saying? It can't be, well, I'm looking to see rah, 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 because the minute you hear your mama joke, black boys are ready to die for that your mama joke thing. You know what I'm saying? You can say anything you want to say probably about daddy, but mama, nah, I ain't gonna let you talk about my mama or my grandma and think I'm gonna just let you rock. I'm gonna try to clock you real good. So we got these things going on. Um, and we do have these things going on, especially in society. I don't agree with it. Uh, Especially like I said, I just had to kick out a tenant. She had her baby daddy in there. That baby daddy used to bust her head through the wall, into the glass, and all kind of stuff. But no matter what, I told her, let that man go. She never, well, she said, that's my baby's father. So she was protecting him from the law that was supposed to do their job and prosecute him. I'm like, I don't know how we help you. So my mom was like, Josiah, that's none of your business. You gotta let her learn. I said, but he'll one day kill her. Can I do anything out of that? Some people don't want the protection. We're in a society, some people don't want the protection. They want the danger. Some people do. And it's sad, but like I said, when they keep turning down, they keep slapping their hands of men and women that do want to do the work or say, you don't know my child, or literally these kind of things, that after a while, it's starting to run them up. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, so we got these issues going on, and I'm up for the discussion. I don't want y'all to think that I was attacking or like a response attack.
But
I'm
but
up.
now, do you think that this woman that allows her man to beat on her represents the majority of black women?
No, that's stupid. Nothing is nothing.
Right. So this is what I'm saying. See, because I get so frustrated. when I hear men talk about these women and then they're using them as an excuse as to why they're not stepping in and policing the community.
How
Because
they?
this right here, this is what I'm talking about. That one situation right there does not correlate over to the bigger situation that we need community policing in these communities. And like this Jay was saying, we've got to step in and we got to start calling the police. You could actually call the police if you hear a disruption and the guy jumping in on her and all that type of stuff. The police show up and he's in the act of beating her. Well, it's out of her hands, it's out of his hands too. The police is going to arrest him whether she likes it or not. And sometimes the state will step in and pick up the case and go after the man.
Okay, so I didn't want to get too deep into that, but again, I already did that, and literally he came back the next day, and it actually was something that I did. She bailed him out. She bailed him out, and I wasn't even trying to use that as well. All black women. I literally said that my mom even said, "Joe, stop doing that. Like, stop it. Like, I only make one call," and I already told him like, "Yo, y'all keep doing it, I'm kicking y'all out." So
Oh, and I'm sorry. Wait a minute, real quick. Pretty Black, I did not forget your super chat. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. And I can't see because I don't have my glasses. Can somebody read that that's on the screen?
keeping the faith with faith.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
that's so literally that wasn't using no excuse. That was literally telling you that you literally I did my part extension of what I needed to do. Now, when we talk about policing, I'm trying to we got to ask yourself what type of policing are you looking for? That's the first question. But I've done policing. I'm on neighborhood watch and armed security guards and stuff. So I'm trying. First of all, let me ask, what kind of policing are you looking for?
Okay, well, I'm looking for the type of policing where it's like community, first of all, community based. Like if you see something, say something.
Okay.
You can't be in the neighborhood and you're seeing all this crime going on, but then when something goes down, nobody knows nothing. Nobody can drop an anonymous, like this Jay said, an anonymous tip or anything. Like people have to become more involved in protecting their community. Like you go into other people's community, like you said, those white women that you had on your panels talking about they're
I
not
didn't see it
protected.
happen the panel yet, but
Well,
I'm tomorrow.
well,
Go
hold
ahead.
on. White women kill me because it seems to me like they are the most privileged group of women on the face of the earth. And I'm going to say this. Now they're sitting up here talking about they're not protected, but I think they take for granted um with their how can I say their position here in this country because they are very protected. Very. When I go into their communities, there's a vast difference of what they go through in their communities and what we go through in our communities. So I don't care how many of them get on your panel and talk about they ain't getting the protection. Because
Mm,
when I go in their communities, I see a difference.
okay. So again, I'm gonna speak for I'm gonna speak it for what I deal with. So and I'm not sure how y'all know how the law enforcement work, but we do have another person over here who also knows about that. Whenever you put charges on somebody and you need that person to come in and testify on them, if the person don't show up, you know what I'm saying? They pretty much are gonna walk. And I've seen it happen more times with with women that literally we could coach them. Hey, like, come on now, this is your chance. You know what I'm saying? You can get your kids back, and do everything. All you got to do is just go up there and say, point at him. Just point at him. He's gone. Never show up. Once that happens, there ain't nothing else I can do. There ain't nothing else I can do. And I've been to plenty of court trials and stuff. So I agree with the neighborhood watch. But understand, it is a community effort. And I always say there are men already out there doing it. There are plenty of men out there doing it, but they may not be doing. Calm down, Warsaw. We got a discussion. There are plenty of men out there doing it, whether they're doing it at the barbershop, whether they're doing it at the schools, mentoring different other stuff. And there's women out there doing it. But those people don't ever get seen for the efforts that they're doing. It's like everybody ain't trying to do it, but the doing it, they're like, well, shit, like I'm doing it, but it ain't good enough. So it's not enough to where if one person says, hey, y'all don't be smoking around the park with the kids coming out here. So if y'all don't enforce it and that one man is the only one who says it, then it's going to get overlooked by the majority. So I don't keep, like I said, that's why I said I don't go by YouTube. Like everybody in a good portion of my neighborhood where I'm at, we all carry firearms. You know what I'm saying? I don't think y'all want my kind of jurisdiction of law because then it's pretty strict out here. So you know what I'm saying? Like I said, like it's got to be a consensus. I know we got more people on the panel, but I'm just saying that it's either we're gonna hold everybody's feet to the fire, and that means we got to hold everybody lock and key, or not. And a lot of people don't like being told, "Hey, either we do this or not." So let's not pretend. Like I said, YouTube, it sounds grand on YouTube, but then when it comes to action, nah, it don't be happening like that, and that's disrespectful about it.
Okay. Well, let me welcome the newest person to the panel. Is that LAR?
We're gonna get you some glasses. Good
What's
morning.
yeah, please do that.
What's up, LAR?
Good morning. I'm just stopping in before I hit to the gym before work. The I hate to say this, but it's hard to protect participants. Like too many people are wanting protection but participating in dysfunction. So that is something that you cannot protect. Um, when even when people look, even when we look at other communities, there's certain type of women in other communities that don't get protected, and they're usually rogue. They're usually people like, you know what, you on your own. And I think one of the issues that's probably pervasive is some of our women who want protection are rogue but want protection, and that sends a bad message to the women who aren't rogue. So that's my thought about that.
So you're saying that you can't protect participants. Now, who would you say would be the participant?
If you even in law enforcement, you don't have to necessarily be the one to robbing the bank to be a bank robber. If you're protecting bank robbers or helping them rob the bank, then you're just as guilty as the one who went in there with the gun and robbed somebody. So if you out here knowing that the guy that you're with is out here doing all these criminal acts, or he's doing the criminal acts to you, and then when the police come to handle that person, you protect him, you then become a participant. And I don't blame the court system or the police officers are basically saying, you know what happens to you happens to you. That's a valid response to foolishness. If someone's beating your ass and you're going ahead and bailing him out of jail, then you therefore take responsibility for what happens to you afterwards. You can't blame anybody else.
Thank you.
And a lot of these people out here who are victims of crime, they're not true victims. They do participate, and we need to actually be honest about that part. Not all of these women out here are these innocent victims. They're not. They know full well how this man gets their money. They've seen the drugs, they've seen the guns. They see him come home with all sorts of, blood splatter and everything like that, and you want to turn around and act like he's an innocent person. We've had too many too many evidence of this on video of Black women getting up on social media defending their criminal boyfriend. I'm sorry, you don't get to be a victim now. You are a participant. That's a valid complaint that we need to take responsibility for. That does happen, and those
Yeah,
women need to be called out.
I can agree with you. Those are the ride or die women.
Yeah, and then when you die, you die. That's
Well,
part of it. You
well,
either ride or you die. You can't complain. If you're
And
quiet while you're
and
riding,
real
when you
quick,
die,
shout out to Love Wisdom and Sister George in the chat. I see you guys down there. What's up? Good morning, everyone.
like, can I extend that to the children in an extent? Because I heard y'all talk earlier about, as Jay was talking about, you should move. There are a lot of mothers out here who know what their children are doing. Some are benefiting off of their kids. Some just are just letting their kids do it. There are a lot of young men who are from 18 to 22 still at the house, coming, with no job, no purpose, and they know what's going on in the house, and wanting other men to come along and quote unquote police the community and police and straighten up the streets. They want, a lot of those people want the streets cleaned up, but still want their kid to be left alone. You can't have both.
That's true. That's very true. And it starts when they're in elementary school when people are telling them, "Hey, your kid's going off the track." Not my baby. You lying? Okay. And then a decade later, they got a criminal record because they did some serious crimes, and you're wondering what happened. Too many times there are warning signs along the way. People just don't wake up and go off the rails. They generally do it little by little. If you don't pay attention and get them back on track, 'cause that's what happens with young people. If you let them run wild shit's gonna happen, and then you can't complain about when things go crazy. So yeah, we do need to take our responsibility for our hand in it. It's not just these young black males who are just between the ages of 16 to 34 who are just doing this and no one notices, and the next thing you know things are out of control and we want to complain. It don't work like that. We need to be honest about that.
I want to say this, and I'm gonna leave. It might cause a problem, but when we talk about like the hood or bad behavior like that, nowadays it's a real simple fix. Send the kid to their daddy. That'll end.
That's not a simple fix for a lot of them. Let's be real.
I
Yeah,
get
because
that's
some of the
Not
daddies are
that
just as
sounds nice, but
bad.
in
no,
practicality,
what
that's not.
I get what y'all saying, but see, we trying to romanticize what it was in the 80s and 90s to what it is now. It's not the same men. It's not the same quote unquote father. It's not the same deadbeat, he a drug dealer. These are people now who just want to be in the hood. It's too many
But
people
I'm
who
saying
got
in the
kids.
hood, in the hood. Let's be honest. There's a specific type I'm not saying it's necessarily just the men's fault because women are choosing these dudes, but we need to be real about who they chose to be the fathers. And so now you can't say just turn them to the daddies because
No, what
no,
I'm
that's
saying to you is the majority of the kids in the hood now, these are not kids whose dad was a drug dealer, did 10, 20 years in jail. These are not those guys anymore. The people in the hood are specifically in the hood because they want to be in that lifestyle. The people who are not in the hood are people who don't want to be in that lifestyle. Because a lot of these kids should know where their dad's at if everybody is in the hood. A lot of their dads are not in the hood. They're not living in the hood. They're not active in the hood like that. These guys, their dad ain't in jail. It's a different scenario when you get on the street about it.
I think one of the things that's interesting about it, and like I say, man, like I went to plenty of school meetings, and literally I've sat down with these parents and said, your child did this. So we'll pull out the doggone the resume. Little Tommy's touching girls. Little Susie's doing this. Not my baby. My baby will do. How would you know? You don't even. This is first time you've been here. We're already like 2/3 through the school year. You just
mm-hmm.
showing up. So I'm literally. Mom say I'm the doggone parent. I'm the one telling your child to pull up the pants and put on clothes. And listen, I can talk my ish because I literally doggone adopted 14 kids under my own tutelage that I have to clothe, feed, put into school, and all that stuff. I don't get no refund for that. I don't file them. Hell, but I promise you, the most why I see people like to claim children tax season.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Season. Y'all,
Yep.
Hmm.
Grown people Christmas. That is true.
But damn it, any other time, shit, drop that baby off at mama's house. I'm like, damn. So after a while, the child starts to feel abandonment, and they'll do whatever they please. Sell body, sell drugs, sex, and I'm not saying it's all children, but for those they look and fill that gap. Now, when it comes to the women and the men, listen, we got our own share of devils that we need to get worked on. That's a fact. And I wish that we weren't like that, but you know what? Until we start addressing these demons, They ain't gonna get no better. Like, listen, I joined Neighborhood Watch. I did. So I do put in the work, but I'm also like, listen, you know what? It was very funny. The one of the people on Neighborhood Watch, their son was, she knew. She knew all along, but she didn't want to turn her child in. She said, how could you ask me as a mother to turn my child in? I said, well, shit. Would you rather the child be shot dead by the cops and then all of a sudden we doing candle vigils? Or would you rather us literally take him down to the sheriff and turn him in? At least if you see him through a glass, he's alive. But you got enough people out here looking to kill him. We gotta understand some of these things we could have been done fixed. But the problem is we have to admit that we do have problems. And it ain't pretty because now, see, that's why I said I love COVID. COVID done showing us all the demons now. We can see everything now. And see, now you can't lie about it now. So I get, yes, do we need protection? Yes. That's why I asked, what kind of policies are you looking for? And if we talk about policies, then that means everybody got to be accountable. Like when you go to work and they give you the work policies and they don't care what's your excuse, but you got to follow the rules. So I'm not saying that, yes, women do need protection. And I'm also going to say men need protection too. So I would, and I did. Somebody say, well, why do men need protection? Well, don't men need to be looked after too? Don't the
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. I agree with you on that wholeheartedly. But here's a question that Gia Girl kind of raised down here in the chat. And I see this a lot, but she was saying something about where is it? It says it. She says it appears that when she's pretty, she's valued by some black men. So, is it true that black men are more apt to come to the defense of a beautiful woman than they are to come to the defense of a helpless woman, whether she's beautiful or not?
But that's not a black man issue. That's just a male issue. That
yeah,
happens everywhere.
that's the male issue. But I'm also like, again, I'm going by case because if I saw a woman, her like if I just saw a woman just in down and fall down on fall down, I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm not gonna stand there and just watch the woman on the ground and just laugh or just pull out my phone and say, "Damn, I need to upload." I'm probably gonna go over there and make sure she's okay or she roll her ankle. Like I know, like I said, sometimes we got to set aside these things and actually start holding the standard. You know what I'm saying? Every you know what I'm saying? Most guys don't mind helping a female to get to them draws. Most females don't mind dealing or putting up or helping a brother to literally get that said access to that masculinity. So that way she can use it or cultivate it. Oh, I know the game. I knew exactly. Minute her boyfriend went to jail, guess who she moved in? Hey, BMT. I'm lonely. You need. Oh, I get it. You need somebody to move in and keep that mattress on the floor warm while his ass is locked up for 4 months. Okay, I'm on my way. I knew exactly what it was. I'm not gonna lie. She wanted a dude to fill the spot, help her pay half the rent. You know what I'm saying? She just wanted that doggone body. So guess what? She knew the rule. You want the protection? Guess what? Post the man up. Best believe. Oh, some women know how to get the protection. You can go get a man or go get an attack dog. Which one do you want? Which one do you want? You want the man or the attack dog? Now you got to be careful when you get the attack dog, ladies. The attack dog, he might have some days, he might bite you back. So you got to ask yourself, which one do you want? So
Okay. Well, let me go on to stream learning. Stream learning. Did you have anything that you wanted to add?
As far as Gia Girl's comment, I hate to be the one
Yeah.
to say it, but sometimes we're biased. So like it appears that when she's pretty, she's valued by some black men. Sometimes we have our biases and we see what we want to see. Because what appears one way to you, somebody else could be standing right beside you. They could see the same event and look at it from a different point of view. So I think it's just bias in that women want attention of men, and they notice the women who get the most attention and just assume that they're getting attention because they're pretty, or they're getting attention because they got their boobs out, or they're half naked, or they get attention because of whatever reason. You know, on the outside looking in, it could appear to be one way or another. I think what it is just even the premise of the show. It's all about getting acceptance from men, and when you don't get that acceptance, then you start going into biases. You go into icebergs, and your thinking may be not exactly what it is because, like BFT and everybody else has been saying, it's really about a case by case basis. You walk up on a situation, you make an assessment, you either intervene or you don't. You either
Right.
stop somebody from putting their hands on someone or you don't. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Where I live in Vegas, if I see somebody coming in my area with the pants sagging, tattoos, throwing up gang signs, spraying graffiti, I'm going to go up to that person to say something because I don't want that crap. Because it's in my own self interest to stop that type of activity from getting worse than what it is. But another situation, if I'm like at the mall and I see a man put his hands on I guess a woman in front of him and start shaking her, I'm going to kind of walk over there and be like, hey man, this ain't the way, and try to de-escalate the situation. If he, tries to come at me and he swings on me, then we just gonna go ahead and take it to that level. But it all boils down to what you want the standard to be. If you want the standard to be where you're like a New Yorker and something goes down, you look the other way and keep going, then eventually your city, eventually that's going to snowball into something greater. But then again, if you have your children with you and you see that type of event happen, then you might just call the police and just keep it moving because you got your children with you. So it just depends on the individual person, what each person wants to do. But I think just kind of what Gia Girl is expressing is just maybe biased, and perhaps her thinking is based off of her experience when it comes to men and just seeing how men act, as opposed to understanding that each man is different and each man is going to react to a woman different than thinking that everybody's a monolith.
Okay. Now, some of the men in the chat, and this is for everybody on the panel, whoever wants to jump in and answer this, but Water Sniper says, since when did black women stop receiving protection? Stop the lies. So do you believe that is, not true that black women aren't protected? Who wants to
That's
jump
not
in on
true.
that?
Can I go first? That's not true.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Well, like perfect example, like this happened like 2 months ago. Now I live in a duplex. I live on the top floor, and the bottom floor is there's like a 39-year-old black woman, very attractive, with a 4-year-old daughter. Now I mean, no type of keep it friendly, high buy, whatever. So what happens that, as I said before, is some neighborhood weed boys sell weed up the block. Now one of their friends or whatever happened out of all. Now he barely comes around, whatever. He comes out of nowhere and wants to start shooting dice in front of our own duplex. So she was asleep. So she came out there and said something to him. So they got into an argument. So I'm upstairs. I can't I forgot, so I asked her what's going on. She said the boy sitting there shooting dice in front of the house. So I'm like, yo, what's up, homie? I said it's two abandoned houses right right by me. Won't you just use that to shoot your dice or whatever? And he talking about some, yeah, nah man, I tried to apologize to her, but this, that, and the third, she came out all disrespectful. No, I mean, I ain't the one, this, that, and the third. It can be whatever, homie. I said, all right. I went upstairs, put my shoes on, went across the street to one of the elders on the block. I asked her who the guy was. He like, man, he just some dude to come around here. He want a friend, blase, blase, leave it alone. No, I mean, we'll squash it out, whatever. No, I mean, it got squashed out, whatever. But the whole point being was that was a perfect example of me protecting my home. and protecting the woman that was in my in our duplex from danger. So that I mean, and I wasn't having sex with her. I wasn't trying to talk to her, just for the simple fact that one, she was a single woman, plus two, she had a child, and plus two, that man's being disrespectful in front of our house.
Okay, so you're saying that you don't really witness black women being unprotected like
No,
that, like
I
they're
don't see
saying
it.
online.
I don't see
Okay,
it.
Hey, Faith.
does it? I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
No, I was going to ask. Does anybody else want to answer that question?
I think what it is, we need to go ahead and just call a spade and get specific, because I noticed the title of the show is the excuses they, I guess they being men, make not to protect. I think the protection isn't really necessarily from a random man not seeing a woman in peril and doing something. I think what it is specific events like where the black boys that took the black girl and threw her in the dumpster, or the black man was trying to talk to the black girl. She dissed him, and then he hit her with a skateboard. So I think, in my opinion, I think that's really where the conversation needs to go, is where you have a bunch of men who are affiliated with a man, and then one man, let's say, hits a woman with a skateboard or picks her up and throws her in a dumpster. Why are the other ones thinking it's intervening and stopping that? I think that's really where we're dancing around, because talking about random, seeing a random event, which probably none of us are probably in the hood anymore. So seeing a random event somewhere and then intervening, I think we'll all make a choice and be able to sleep at night. But I think the events that, like Space was saying online, where people are recording men like choke slamming black women, and then everybody else is sitting around either recording it, laughing about it, or not intervening. So if it's okay to take the conversation there, I like to address like a specific event and then get some like more specificity, so that way we can satisfy the title of the show, if that's all right with
No,
you,
go
Faith.
go go right ahead, stream learning, because that you're hitting the nail right on the head. This
Yeah,
is
I
the
think
elephant in the room.
I saw that title and I was like, okay, Faith, when are you gonna let us just get right into the meat and potatoes of this? But so I think what it is. So me personally, I say growing up, that's the last time I really just experienced something like that, where you see dudes throw a girl in a dumpster and dumb stuff like that. What it is that it's that the men who allow that to happen and they're there, it's that they align themselves with the dude who's doing that. They're protecting him because of
Right.
clicks, because of the game. And you see it on panels, not this one per se, but you see it in Black YouTube, where it'll be people talking about, they'll just start dragging a woman, doxing her, and doing all types of stuff, and the men will be on the panel not saying anything. There's even men who have said stuff like they believe in genocide of all black women, and men won't say anything, not because they believe it, but because they align themselves with that man who's doing that attack. And at that point, in that situation, she's not going to be protected, because everybody is indirectly protecting that man who's doing the attacking.
Mm.
That's
So
true. They'll also join in
that's
on
true.
dragging the other black women. It's not just if they
Yes.
keep silent; they'll go ahead and participate in it. So yeah, that happens. That's, like I said, that's just part of our overall community disrespect, and you just have to understand that's unfortunately part of our culture.
But how do we change it? That's the question, because we can't just accept it as just being part of the culture. That's something that we really should not, accept in the culture. It's something that we really should reject from the culture.
Well,
That's the $1 million question, because
I'm gonna be honest, because like I said, what you put into the universe, that's what you will receive. Okay, what you put into the universe, that's what you will see. I get on the men and I talk to them about, hey, like I have, you know, all genders come on my panel, and I catch all kind of flack for that. You know what I'm saying? Have commutable conversations, have dialogue. You know what I'm saying? It can be done, but also in the same sense, you know what? It also has to be the same thing for the women that when they see stuff like, you know what I'm saying, like polls, I ain't gonna lie, a lot of us we read that poll. I ain't never seen something wild like that. But I didn't see nobody saying, "Hey man, I think you a little bit you off code for that." You can't ask for
But
one.
was it really off code, or was it just the reality of the situation?
Okay, no, it was off code. It was very much off code because literally it was. But see, somebody has to be the bigger the adult in the room. But I would never. But I mean, like I said, you can't say that you want a different result and literally, you know what I'm saying. And when we talk about a ceasefire and somebody does something, then we'll have to deal with it. And I mean, let's be honest. Some people are getting tired of it. I mean, if y'all ain't tired of it, I mean, keep playing the game. Y'all can stay in this long-winded game of us versus that. I mean, hey, you have at it. I don't take this social media stuff with me to bed. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can keep on. They can keep on having the long discussion about submission and sexual gratification and all that stuff. You see, it ain't going nowhere. It ain't getting nothing done. I
It
understand.
sure ain't.
So I mean, at some point, when do you get tired and say, "Yo, man, like, chill that out, man"? It's just like some people told me, "Why do I have a feminist on my panel?" Cool, but I want her to be there. And guess what? She's one of the most coolest women I know, and she supports me. I got different people that come through, and I support them. I don't align myself with the foolishness, but I mean, it's just like he says. Are you going to keep lying yourself, people? Maybe they did say something that was like that. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you just that much. But then I would ask any of her peers or anybody else. Did you say, "Yo, man, why did you do that?" Why that makes us look in front of the eyes of the world? That you're gonna ask a stupid question like that? Just like the dude who did that stupid thing with that boy. But now they all looking dumb and they trying to say, "Hey, I'm still a man." You see how they got to keep saying they still a man because they know right now ain't nobody checking for them to look like men of the community. So when you step out of line with that, you can't ask or demand of something when you align yourself with something that goes against the community. It's not a pretty truth, but it's real. I can't say I'm cool with fake, but then I'm jumping on, I never rock fake. Then you're gonna be like, "Yo, what's that about? What's that? Were you ever anything BMT?" Damn. So you got at some point there got to be a set standard. I'm willing to keep my banner flag flying and saying that, "Yo, I'm with y'all," but I would have the same thing. If I'm going to put my neck out and draw my sword for y'all, I want the same energy. Damn it, give me that same energy.
Exactly. Now I agree with that. That I do agree with. You can't sit up here and align yourself with people that have uh how can I say traits that don't align with your value system. Like I can sit up here and say, well, I don't, subscribe to women going around here just sleeping with random men willy nilly and twerking and all this type of stuff. But then here I am over here with the twerkers and all the women that sleep with everybody and all this type of stuff and upholding them and not saying anything about their activity. So you're absolutely right. And there has to be a code to the culture, and if you're not calling it out, then you're off code.
Like I said, I have y'all back. But the only thing I'm saying, yo, have mine, man. I ain't like I said, I ain't trying to hold no. I ain't got. Listen, man. I know we got time. Like I said, we gotta. Let's be different then. Let's segregate ourselves and start policing. If y'all want to do the policing, let's do a social media policing first. So that way we can show, yo, hey, I don't get down like that. Y'all say that. Y'all think like that. So that way we'll know, yo, hey, we saw you over there doing that. That's not how we do it over here.
But
I don't.
just like that incident with that panel that a certain person had, where
Yep.
this white man was allowed to go on there and disrespect black men, basically saying that they're stupid, and
You know,
nobody said anything.
see that, and you're right about
No,
that.
they did push back on that part.
You
They
want to
said
know?
plenty. They said plenty when that part came up. It was the
Now,
first
see,
part they didn't say nothing about it.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you the three segments that they literally didn't catch. But I was there. I was there for when I was talking about networking and learn how to work together and drop these stupid beats. And there was another guy named Epic Empowerment. Now, what happened was the minute that that person said, "Hey, we're talking about black male issues," and that man said, "That sounds funny to me. I can't take. I laugh at that. I don't know why the fuck y'all still talking to him. Why y'all still talking to him? He just told y'all he don't give a shit about y'all." But the minute they heard something about, well, he was calling on black women, that was. I'm like, wait, so y'all got happy when they were calling on black women, but then y'all feel some type of way when he started talking about y'all? Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, you stupid. But he already disrespected you. You got so you can't ask for all of a sudden. Well, when y'all no. You open that door. I would never let somebody disrespect screen learning. Never let somebody disrespect Jay, Rob, different people, men and women that come through my panel. I don't do that. If you a guest in my house, yo, I don't give a damn who got beef with you. Not in my chat. My mods are pretty. They're fast at sniping too. Like, hey, while they're here, that shit don't go down. But we got to keep the standard going, y'all. And I'm just saying, man. Like, yo, I got y'all back. I don't care what they call me. 'Cause I don't take none of these people seriously like that. And I got no fear in my heart. But I'm also like, yo, it got to go vice versa. I'm looking for my ladies to like, yo, don't be talking about men like that, man. But see, you don't want no weak men around you. You keep calling your men pathetic, they start to believe they're pathetic. So then when they come around you, they act like pathetic, weak dogs. Build up your men, just like I'm gonna build up my women. I think they're smart, beautiful, and they brave and they strong. But I've seen that kind of women around me. I've seen some bad ones, but also I've seen some damn sure good ones. So they all ain't married. So I don't always say, well, if you're a single mother, you ain't no good. Nah, that's stupid. That's dumb. People can't help the situation they damn sure can better themselves. So I mean, like I said, don't worry, I'm gonna do my rebuttal to that. I'm gonna do my rebuttal to that. But I'm just like, yo, we can set the standard or not. You know, that's all I'm saying, man.
All right. Did anybody else want to answer that question, or should we move on to something else? We good on it? Okay. All right. Let's move on. All right. So now we talked about white women and protection, and we talked about police in the community. We also talked about having a code of conduct. So now let's bring all of this full circle. Okay, so right now we're saying that black women are getting protection, and I've seen more than one black man in this day. I don't know what your stance on that, because I don't think you even answered whether or not you thought white women were more protected or not. Did
Yeah,
you
they
answer
are.
that?
No, I'm saying it's obvious if you when you look at the situation, just look at the landscape, look at every single neighborhood, look at the schools, look at the hospitals. When you look at overall, I'm not talking about just individual someone's being attacked, so someone stands up for them, but that's not just all the type of protection. Overall, yeah, they are. But at the same time, you can't really, blame them for that. They also participate in their protection, and we don't.
True. Absolutely true. So now, what are the solutions? This is going to be the solution segment. What do you think that we need to do in order to make our communities better? I heard move. I've
Well, I
heard
think I mean I'm talking about for the short term, for the immediate term. One thing we can do, again, remove yourself from hostile, dangerous war zones. That's one thing you can do. But one of
Okay.
the main things that we can do, both short term and also long term, especially for women, is we need to invest and make sure that our young boys, especially, are educated. One of the first
Yes.
warning signs you're gonna get that women are given that they're gonna end up having problem sons is that damn report card. Because we're living in we're now coming to a learning society where you have to basically have knowledge, a knowledge society. If your child can't read, they're not going to be able to participate in the job market. So therefore, they're going to be almost forced to try to have that alternative economic productivity, which we all know is generally crime. So one of the things we can do is it has to start young, is make sure our children can actually read, make sure they are participating, in school, not just cutting up because they're being babysitted, and the teacher can't even teach anybody else because they're trying to make sure your child can sit down properly. We need to make sure we do that. If your child needs help, making sure you're getting tutoring. So by the time they return to being 11, 12, 13, they're not going to go off the rails so much. And that's one of the things we can do because we just look at the evidence. Almost every single time you're looking at people who end up being real problems, they have a lack of education. So
That's
that's
true.
one thing we as women we can do, especially invest in our boys' education. And that will help them stay off the streets, get them in after school activities, things that we can do. Now I
And
can't give you
and
advice for the
that's
men because we're not men, but that's what we women can do.
that's the thing that I wanted to touch on too, because everyone says that poverty in and of itself leads to crime. But now there are some high poverty areas in other communities where there isn't any crime. So I think you're hitting the nail right on the head when you talk about the education. Because to me,
Yeah,
the less education our people have, that's where the crime is coming from. The ignorance.
right. If your child can repeat a violent rap song, but they can't read a basic book or know the alphabets, you are the problem. We need to, what exactly are you spending your time teaching them? Everybody gets the same 24 hours. What are you doing with it? Why are you sitting there watching, ratchet TV at home with the children and not, having some sort of educational program on there? You have access to the internet. You have access to apps. I mean, there's all sorts of things you have access to where your children, I mean, it's not like back in the day where you had to do all the teaching yourself. You can literally, get online and have someone else teach them how to do stuff. You don't even have to know it yourself. I mean,
Exactly. And
there's
I
not
think this COVID situation is actually a good thing because it's showing people that they can homeschool their kids.
exactly.
There,
And
there are a
like I
lot
said,
of
you
people
you
that's saying that after this COVID epidemic, they're not even going to put their kids back in traditional school.
right. I'm saying also you yourself, because I mean a lot. Let's be real. A lot of us, because we went to the same crappy schools, we don't like. I would be at loss to teach anybody having to do anything beyond basic math. Because honestly, hell, I'm bad at it. But there are certain things you can do where someone can actually teach them themselves. Literally sit them down, turn on the device, and have them watch it. You don't have the same excuse that you had back in the day where you had to know it in order to teach them, and because you didn't know it, you can't teach them. You don't have that excuse anymore. There's no reason why your child can't be on a reading level. And as a collective, our children are not on the same educational level, and we need to take look at ourselves, and that's one of the things that we can do as women. I can't really give you advice for the men because I'm not a man, but that's something that we can do to help our boys not end up being the yeah, well, we already know, but I'm just saying that's one thing we can do at least.
Okay. And now, see, who haven't I heard from in a while? Q Savage.
Well, honestly, solution is that one like education wise, I think we should get back into self education just for the simple fact that us as black people in America, especially black men, we used to change the self education just for the simple fact is that we went to school nothing. If we wanted to learn something, we just pick up a book and learn it by trial and error. And I feel that the boys should learn that they should learn self education They should and not to mention that the internet is it's very good right now for the simple fact is that you can learn so much stuff. You can pretty much teach a kid college right now, top college courses at 6, 7 years old. You can teach them geometry. You can teach them trigger. You can teach them these things right now. And me, for example, my daughter or whatever, I tell her for the fact that that as long as you stay educated and keep her weight down, to be honest, I said as long as you stay educated and keep your weight down and have decency and respect for yourself, I mean you shouldn't have no problem. And for my boy, I just want to be I want to be educated I honestly I want to be like a Steve Urkel. I'm happy with him being a Steve Urkel because we need more of them.
Okay. And stream learning.
Yeah, I hate to be the pessimistic, but the answer is nothing. There's a culture out there, and we're all old. Everybody on this panel, everyone on these YouTube panels, we're all old. The younger generation doesn't want to be us or be like us. Just like the things that poisoned us while we were growing up, the youth are facing the same thing. With rap music, you got a guy named The Baby. If you see his music, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's always going to be like that, and it's been like that since the 80s. The best thing you can do is focus on your children and your significant other. And if you start seeing things get bad, then you have to move. But I disagree that education is the answer because the gangs are getting into schools and they're selling drugs to children. And if I doubt that we are mentally prepared to lose our life protecting our neighborhood the same way the drug dealer is willing to lose his life to protect his crew, protect his block, and protect the things they got going on. A lot of these situations, they're out of our hands. We can vote on politicians, we can improve education, we can do all these things, but there's no one that's willing to actually go toe to toe with the drug dealers and the community that supports them. That goes with the gangsters, that goes with the rap music, that goes the portrayal of how people are on TV. It's bigger than us. And it's just best to let gentrification take its course and clean up an area when the government wants to step in and do that. I just really don't see much of us going back to how things were in the 70s, 60s, and 50s, back when we had the Black Wall Streets and things like that. If you're living in a good neighborhood, protect your neighborhood, work with the people you live with to prevent people who have lower, and lower upper problems coming into your area and making things worse than what it is. Because there's a whole system in place that's geared towards lowering property value so that people who are in the gentrification business can come in, buy low and sell high. So I think the main solution is taking care of your children, your significant other, like I just said, and if things get really, really bad, like they are in Chicago and certain blocks, East St. Louis, like they are in certain parts of LA, if they get to the point where they're like that, then you just got to move and take your losses.
Okay, but I'm saying, but the majority of Black people don't live in those neighborhoods. So there are things that we as a collective of Black people can do. And one of the things we also need to be real about, the kids in the ghetto aren't the only ones who are listening to rap music. A lot of the rap music that's being bought is bought by Black people who don't live in the ghetto. So we can't just put all the blame on them. And just because you send your children to school doesn't necessarily mean they're being educated. Because Black kids
Right.
in general, not just the ones in East St. Louis, have less than great test scores, less than great reading levels. It's not just the ghetto. And don't get me wrong, what you're saying is 100% true. But even following that, that's not going to solve the problem as a collective. We all, as a community in America, have this particular issue where our children are not being properly educated. We listen to rap music, we watch ratchet TV, we infect our younger children because the older people are the ones who are raising these children. They're a reflection of us, We have to take responsibility for that. It's not just the young people. They literally reflect us. They're being raised that way. They're being raised not being able to read on their level. Nobody is taught how to read themselves. Somebody has to teach it to you. And we're not teaching them. That's our problem. So we have to take responsibility for that. I'm agreeing. The ratchet areas, they are ratchet, but we can't just walk away. We have to also make sure that when we do walk away, we don't bring that particular culture to us, and also give the people in that area who want to leave. We have to also give them the opportunity to improve themselves, not bring that stupidity to us, but we also have to give them the opportunity to also leave and improve themselves. That's the only way we're going to solve the problem. And if we don't do it, then I agree, it's not going to be solved.
Okay, if I respond,
Yeah.
I agree with you that the parents have to parent and work with the school system to ensure that children get the education that is required and deserved. When we as parents drop the ball on our own children, where you got fatherless homes, where you have parents not really wanting to go to parent teacher conference for progress report, or parents not concerned with the education of a child, like what homework are you bringing home, getting them tutoring if need be. I agree that when we as parents are not active in a child's education and upbringing, then society raises them and they become a product of their environment as opposed to a product of our parenting.
Right. That is true. But I'm saying we have to also I'm saying overall, we have to leave that culture behind. Too many kids in the suburbs listen to rap music. Also, we bring that we for some reason we want to carry that ghetto culture no matter where we go, and we have to change that mindset, because that's kind of what's holding us back. You can raise your kids in a great neighborhood, but they open up their phone and they looking at certain things and they bring that stupidity right to us. We glorify that kind of nonsense, and it's just like that's something that we all have to stop. It's not just the people in those neighborhoods, unfortunately. And I don't know when we decided to do that, but we have to really do a U-turn because it's devastating us.
Yeah,
I
I
swear,
agree as well.
I'm
And I'm
surprised
saying
somebody.
I speak from personal experience, because my sister, she doesn't live in a ghetto neighborhood. She's raising her kids with all the financial advantages. But when you listen to the music what they listen to, it's like she might as well have them living in the ghetto because they're surrounded by it. And I don't know why she doesn't put a stop to that. But it is what it is.
There's this
But
old saying: you can take the person out of the ghetto, but sometimes you cannot take the ghetto out of the person.
I'm
And
saying
so you're
they're not.
right.
Some of them are not even trying. They think because they're not getting shot at that they can listen to that. I mean, it's really vulgar, disgusting, degrading music, and they having the kids who are filling their head with that nonsense, and then you wonder why they turn out the way they do. You have to cut that stuff off completely, and there's too many of us who are lax with that, and that's also going to cause a problem, because you can't be surprised when let's say a girl or a guy, they raised in a regular middle class neighborhood, but they have that same kind of thug mentality, or they want to date someone like that because they grew up thinking that's a great thing, not understanding the real reality of it. That's almost even more dangerous, because they don't really see how the bad outcome is. They just see the great stuff that's talked about in music, and music can be very seductive. It can really get you off track, and I don't think we understand the power of that. I know that's completely off topic, but I'm saying that's part of our culture we need to get rid of. It got in there, and it's really just destroying us. And we have to. I'm not trying to sound like an old fuddy duddy, but I'm saying it's like, if you sat there and listened to the stuff they talk about, it's really like frightening what they glorify. And I don't understand why you would let your kid at a very young age saturate their mind with that kind of stuff.
A lot of these parents just aren't parenting, period.
Yeah, they're
You
not
know,
paying
I
attention at all.
I got a cousin that thinks that keeping her kids locked up in the room is parenting. You know.
Honey, the world with the internet, you can do that all you want to. The world's gonna come to them, and if you don't watch that stuff, you just wasting your time. As soon as they get out in that world, they're gonna go straight to what you tried to keep them away from.
Yeah, with the programming, because most of the rap music you're talking about, it's actually anti-black people, even though it's
It
black
really is.
who are
It
saying
really is. It
they
really is.
they play that music at Klan rallies, at the
Yeah.
Klan rally, and then
I mean, yeah.
when you
You
go
might
to
as well. It might if yeah, you might. You literally bringing the Klan into your home and not even realizing it, because you don't see you don't see that burning cross in your front yard, but honey, it's in your child's mind. They are really anti-black man and anti-black woman. They pretty much singing genocide to a rap beat. It's crazy the stuff they say.
Oh yeah.
and like what you were saying with the culture, everything from the misogyny of women, how women are portrayed in the music videos, the lyrics are using the N word, talking about shooting up a black person. It's not really our music. It's not really made for us, and we don't control it. We don't own it. The people who own it and control it and make money off of it,
Yeah,
they're
but we consume it, so we have to take responsibility for that. We're the ones going to the concerts. We're the one. I mean, it's like this true. We don't run the rap industry, but damn, it's like we
actually
gotta do
it's
something. We gotta do
pretty.
something because it's like it's getting so bad out there. And they're getting younger and younger with this foolishness. I mean, they're practically babies out there just singing about horrific stuff.
Yes. But you know what? I don't really want to get too far off into the rap music because, like you said, that's something that's completely controllable. You know,
Yeah,
we can control that. But
yeah, we
like
can.
you
That's
know,
what I'm saying. We have to control it because I'm saying it's part of our children's education. I said they can't do anything as far as reading and writing and math, but damn it, you give them some of these a whole album, they can repeat it like it's nothing. So they
oh
have the
yeah,
ability to learn. We just need to understand what they're learning, and we need to make sure that we correct that because they can't correct it themselves. They're kids.
right.
Kids don't raise themselves properly. That's impossible. So even us old fuddy duddies out here, we gotta roll the sleeves up and be like, listen, this is just if nobody does anything, you're right. There's nothing can be done. There's nothing that's gonna be done, but we have to do it. That's just the bottom line because there's no other community is gonna come in and change it the way we need it to be changed. Yeah, you're gonna have gentrification, but where they gonna live? Yeah,
You
you
know
can clean
what?
up you
If it
can
was
clean up
up to me, if it was up to me, I'm telling you, I would legalize all drugs. I would legalize prostitution. That will immediately get rid of the drug dealers and the pimps. Uh, I would definitely bring in the National Guard for these gang bangers terrorizing the community. If it was up to me, now you know people would hate me, but I would do it. I sure would.
yeah. I mean, we know how to do it. The problem is there's too many people who are higher ups, not the lowly people on the ground. There are too many higher ups who are profiting off of our destruction. There's when you just go ahead and just look up the individual prisons in America, like and put in the zip code, and you be surprised how many of those small towns the majority of their jobs come from the prison industry. They're
Oh
profiting off of
yeah.
that. That's not even the private prisons. They're
and,
profiting off
and
that.
and that's and that's the biggest thing. Not only are we profiting off of it on a small scale, but on a larger scale, white America continues to
That
profit off
that's
of our
but that's what I'm
dysfunction.
talking about. That's what I'm saying. That this literally is a money making business. So yeah, like you're saying, you're destroying the property that the cost of the property values in our neighborhoods. And you're right, they swoop in, they buy it
Mhm.
low and sell it high. But I'm saying the problem is the people who used to live in that neighborhood, where are they gonna live now? We already have a high homeless rate. We're already being pushed out of our neighborhoods. So I'm saying if we sit back and don't do anything, the problem is not going to solve itself. It's just going to get
But
worse.
that's just the thing. They don't want you to live anywhere. They want you in the prison.
I know. I agree. I'm saying I completely agree. That's the playbook. That is what it is. But I'm saying the point is we're living in it. We are living in it. So it's like we can't just sit back and say, okay, well, let them solve it, because they're not going to solve it at our benefit. And once they go ahead and get rid of the lower class people, the people who live in those bad neighborhoods, they're not going to just stop at those people. They're going to stop. They're not going to stop until they get all of us. And we're
Yeah,
going to
that's
end up
true.
living like we're going to end up like how the Native Americans were. The Native Americans at one point in time were the majority in this country. There were hundreds of millions of them, or at least tens of millions of them. And now there's about 3 million of them. And half of those 3 million are white. You can't find a Native American who looked like how they used to look like before the white man got here. And guess what? We're next on that list. Steph Curry is going to be a dark-skinned black man in 3 generations. This is a real problem that we need to that we need to really try to solve, because we on our way out of here. And we don't realize how quick that we're being genocided. It don't take much. And this COVID situation is simply accelerating what's already started out in the 60s. When they did that Civil Rights Act, they really were saying, hey, this is how we're going to low-key absorb black people, i.e. get rid of them. And we didn't
But
we
you
didn't
know
we didn't
what?
realize that.
Do you think that our dependent mindset also kind of puts us in a bad shape? Because I see a
Yeah.
lot of black people out here, and this is what I'm talking about when I say dependent mindset. We have black people out here that think that just because they smoke weed on the weekend and get drunk on the weekend, that they are not detriment to the community. They
Yeah.
really just don't believe that you're doing anything wrong. Oh, I just smoke a little weed, I just drink a little drink. But you smoke
Mm-hmm.
until you're impaired, you drink until you're impaired, and
And you're
what
giving
good
your
is that?
money and you're giving your money and your profits to the very same people who you say are the problem. So if
Exactly.
you're buying money from the weed guy who is a drug dealer, and you turn around and complain about how the drug dealers are destroying the community. That doesn't make sense.
But these are the people that may have, nice jobs. They make, almost nearly 6 figures. They got a 70, $80,000 a year job. And oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not do harming anybody. I'm not doing anything wrong. I just smoke my weed and drink my drink on the weekends. I'm not doing anything. These are also the people that harm the community.
Yeah.
And I see them out here, and they're buddy with the neighborhood, what do you call it, the weed man. They're
Mm-hmm.
buddy, and we all know that the weed man don't just sell weed. Okay, like,
No.
can we just put that out there?
No, you don't. We
So
know.
you're financing the weed man with your buying habits, so that he can also purchase what he purchased to create his other drugs that he makes
Mm-hmm.
more money off of.
And how he also hires the thugs to go around shooting people because he
Hmm.
wants to protect his block. So yeah, it's a whole system, and nobody we don't for a problem for some reason we don't want to take responsibility for the part that we play. And yeah, it's just like I said, there are things that we can do to go ahead and solve the problem so we can have a collective protection. Because whether you like it or not, when you having these rogue people out here, nobody's gonna be protected.
Nobody. And that's what I be
So
telling a lot of my, because I have a friend, she's a very nice lady, very conservative, live in a nice neighborhood. She's a nurse. Her husband's a retired police officer. Both of them go to the weed man.
yeah,
These are the people in the community that contribute to the problem.
yep, that is very much true. Yeah. And
But
eventually, if you don't go ahead and control it, but the problem is eventually, if you don't go ahead and control that problem, they're not going to want to have any of us living in their neighborhoods. We're going to go back. Trump just now went ahead and changed a law that basically said they can go back to being they can basically discriminate on
well,
allowing
hold up. See this right here. You see this comment?
weed isn't destroying the community.
Yeah.
Again, it's denial. That's what I'm saying. People don't want to accept the reality of the situation. because
Now
the
we
same
just sat here and we just broke down how weed destroys the community. You are supplying the drug dealer, and like I said, let's keep it real. The weed man ain't just selling weed. So when you're
yeah
buying from the weed man, you are enabling him to do a multitude of things that destroy the community.
including lacing the weed with other stuff. That's usually
yeah
how people end up getting on the crack, the heroin, lean pills, and all that is because it's laced
yeah,
or
they're putting fentanyl in marijuana.
it's
Yes,
the it's the
That's
gateway drug.
it's Yeah, it's ridiculous, and people know that. But again, folks who have their own little picadillos don't want to change that. So they're like, I'm not the problem. Go after that person, and it just goes from there. Just goes from there. Goes from there. Just like the woman who the teacher's telling them your kid is badass and just messing up the whole class. My child ain't doing that. Yeah, it just it's a
the,
collective problem. We all need to hold our hand up and saying what role we play, and we don't do that. Like
exactly.
I was
And the
saying that.
denial is real. It's real
Yeah.
because I had a stepson, from my previous relationship. This boy was so addicted to the weed, he couldn't get his behind up and go to work.
Yeah.
Now, anytime something make me so lazy that I don't want to get up and go to work, I don't need it.
Yeah. Because the weed that they have nowadays is not the same weed they had from the 60s. This stuff is super strong, is super potent, and is laced with other stuff. So you're not just smoking just the marijuana plant.
No.
They just label it weed, but it ain't weed. So yeah, you're gonna have a serious problem. There's a lot of people out there who have, like you said, have a serious addiction to marijuana that we don't talk about. Because if you're doing something every single weekend and you don't see a problem with it and you can't stop, guess what? You're addicted. And if you're going to say, and a weekday is just a day of the week. If you do it on Saturday and Sunday, your ass can do it Monday through Friday too.
Yep. And a lot of these people do it Monday through Friday. They just
They
might,
do.
sneak and take a puff off of one, but on the weekend they
Exactly.
feel like they can really let go.
And one of the best ways that the white man has to make sure you don't have a good job, go ahead and do a drug test.
Yep.
Because a lot of jobs you have ain't got nothing to do with whether or not you smoke weed. But what they want to do, make sure your ass can't get that job. And how
But
many
like
people
you
if they
said,
tap?
like our screen learner said, they're lacing the weed with other drugs. So you
Yeah.
thinking that the weed is only going to show up, but then this
Mm-mm.
other stuff is showing up.
Exactly. And how many people they could have got a good job that they could not do that last test, which is have some clean pee. We know a lot of people
Oh yeah,
where
yeah.
that's
I had a
insane.
cousin that was living with me about 3 years ago, trying to help him out. He couldn't stop smoking the weed though.
Yeah. I'm saying that, and we don't talk about that, but that's another issue that we have. So yeah, it's not just the drug dealer. It's a whole ecosystem, it's the whole support system that we do.
And that's the solution for cleaning up communities is having to deal with the people who support and benefit from the way it is.
Yep.
Like the
And
guy
we
that
don't even have that discussion though. That's the whole thing. You gotta first at least admit what the problem is before you can solve it. And so many people don't even want to have that discussion. Like Faith was saying, I'm not the one doing it. Yeah, you are.
But you know what? You got so many guys out here talking about some of the weed help them stay virile and helps with their
They lying to
manhood.
themselves. I'm
Yeah.
saying every single drug addict has an excuse of why what they're doing is not a problem. Every single addict, period. Gambling addicts, sex addict, drug addict, alcoholics. That's the whole part of addiction. Anybody who's dealt with an addict knows they always got an excuse by what they're doing is not that bad. Until it gets real bad, then they admit it, and then they go from there. But I'm just saying, everybody who's dealt with an addict knows that merry-go-round. It ain't even nothing new.
Okay, and third ward, and I'm not picking on you, but it's just that you're providing the most pushback. And see, and this is the stuff that I hear every day. So what you're saying is no different than what I've heard my own family members say. I got people in my family say the same thing. Well, I guess I'm the only functional smoker. I work 50, 60 hours a week. So how's it stopping me? That person you were talking about it, Faith, I was just lazy. I'm going to work and take care of my business. Once again, though, it's not even just about you going to work and taking care of your business individually. It's the fact of the business that you are supporting an illegal um, person in the neighborhood that does more than just provide you with your weed. Normally these weed men, they're in the community, they're the drug dealers, they're selling additional drugs, and they're recruiting additional drug dealers in the community that sell multiple drugs. Your transaction with this person funds this in the community. That's the
And it's,
problem.
and it also funds the shooters. They're connected because they want to protect their block. They want to protect their profits. They want to protect the money that you give them. It's not just the weed. It's the whole system.
And once
I mean, I
again,
know a lot of people don't care about that, but you have to be honest and recognize exactly what you're doing. You're not just smoking weed. You're also
exactly.
protecting and supporting the people who go out there and shoot babies. That's
Right. And
harsh,
third
but it's
world, I'm
also
not
reality.
third world, we're not saying that you're an addict at all. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is there is a little bit of denial there as far as how it hurts the community. And it does. It really does. You're contributing to hurting the community by funding these people and their illegal activities. So I mean, I know that you could probably stop whenever you want to. Everybody's different. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not even saying that you're an addict like that or whatever. But it's been my experience though that people that smoke weed on a regular basis for long periods of time, they do go through withdrawals. I don't know too many of them that can just go cold turkey. And like I said, if you can do it, that's great. I'm not saying that I'm not doubting you, but I'm speaking to the point of you are kind of contributing to it when you fund the weed man.
And also be aware, like they were saying, when you buy it off the street, you're not just buying weed. You're buying other stuff they lace the weed with. So you may think that you can stop because you haven't stopped. And you try to stop and realize, uh-oh, I have a problem because they put some other addictive shit in your weed. So also be aware of that when you go out there and buying that off-brand stuff off the street, they rarely just simply have the plant in your marijuana. They have synthetic stuff in there. They also have other drugs. So just be aware of that. If you want to continue, that's on you. You're an adult, but just be fully aware of the decision you're making. Is all.
Right.
It's like the people who were taking oxycodone. They were like, "Oh, my back hurts." And then you try to stop, and you realize, "Uh-oh, you're addicted to one of the most addictive medicines on the planet, opioids." Yeah, be aware of what you're doing.
Exactly. But now, with that said, because I don't want to, jump all over Third War Colombian.
No, but
he's
we're not just
he's a
speaking to
he's a
him.
cool
There's a
dude.
lot of people just like him. He just happened to speak up and say what he said. But his what he's saying is not alone. There's a lot of people who think exactly like that, and that's not just black people. There's a lot of people in America who think that.
Yes,
So thank you for speaking up about it. Because, like I say, you're not alone. Do not think you're the only one. You are definitely not, and that's a problem. We have a drug culture in America. We really have a drug culture, and it's a problem.
yeah. But at any rate, this has actually been a good live stream. I think we touched on a lot of great, interesting subjects here. But it's going on
Yeah.
3 hours. I can't believe I've been up here this long. But I want to thank everybody that came to the panel: Q Savage, Miss J, LAR Movement, BMT, Screen Learning. The men just dropped off. They were like, "Hey, forget this. I'm out."
Yeah, well, I mean, that's fine.
But
But
yeah, I'm glad that you hung in there with me, Miss J. I'm so thankful that you did. And
Yeah,
you know everything. Every time you come up here, you always add a different perspective, things that I haven't even thought about, and so it's always much appreciated.
no problem. And you as well. Lovely talking to you.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream, guys, because it looks like I'm heading over into the mountain, and I don't know if you guys can hear it on my end, but on my end, some when people are talking, they're kind of breaking up. So I know that that's my cue to go ahead and end the stream before I get bounced out of here like I did the last time. But thank you to everybody that came into the building. Pretty Black Magic, Love Wisdom, Gia Girl, uh, Veratiki, Third War Colombian. Oh goodness, so many of you guys came through here. Perfect the Bliss. Who else? Am I missing anybody? Don't want to miss anybody, but you know how it goes. If I did, oh, I am pretty damn gangster. I see you up in here as well. You know, all my regulars that come through, you know, I really appreciate it. You know, you could be anywhere, but you're here this early in the morning dealing with me. And I really appreciate you. I appreciate every single last one of you that come in here. Oh, Cassandra Brown. Let me not forget Miss Cassandra. She has some pretty decent comments here that I have highlighted. And I think I got everybody. If I missed you, it's not on purpose. It's just that this has been a long chat, so I can't go all the way back to the very beginning. I do apologize for that. But everybody, you have a wonderful and blessed day. And I am out.